Hi everyone, my name is Tonka and I have prepared a presentation about dialysis. So, nephrons are functional units of kidney that filter blood, and a person can survive with only 1/3 of one kidney, even though nephrons have the ability to regenerate well after small injuries, or if some are destroyed and others can undergo hypertrophy. But if 3/4 of the nephrons are lost, urine output decreases to about the half, which is about 30 milliliters per hour, which can cause azotemia and acidosis because our body and our kidneys are not able to maintain the homeostasis in our body. If 90% of nephrons are lost, patients develop uremia as well as are usually anemic, as kidneys can't produce enough erythropoietin to stimulate red blood cell production in bone marrow. So patients usually take this hormone artificially. And chronic renal failure is when people need to be treated with dialysis, and it's a long-term, progressive, and irreversible loss of nephrons, and requires either transplantation of kidney or hemodialysis. So how can we discharge our nephrons? We can do so when patients suffer from hypertension or kidney infections that's occurring recurrently, prolonged ischemia and hypoxia, which can be often seen in swimmers and long-distance runners. We can get poisoned by heavy metals, for example, with lead or mercury, or with other solvents such as carbon tetrachloride or acetone, which are being absorbed into our body and blood when we inhale fumes, or they can be absorbed by our skin. And then they are filtered in glomeruli and kill renal tube cells. Other way is there can occur blockage of the renal tubes with small proteins, for example, hemoglobin or myoglobin. This can occur also with arteriosclerosis when our kidneys can receive enough blood from organism, or autoimmune disease can cause this when disease is of the glomerular capillaries called glomerulonephritis. So for people whose kidneys are damaged enough that are not being able to filter blood and then maintain homeostasis in our body, and patient can't get or don't want to get kidney transplantation, hemodialysis, also called artificial kidney, is a process where blood is being pumped from body from arteries to dialysis machine. Here in dialysis machine, in dialysis chamber, the blood flows through selectively permeable membrane, which is surrounded with dialysis fluid, and then the blood passes through bubble trap to get rid of the air before it is returned back to the patient's body through veins. Solutes like urea or potassium that are more concentrated in blood diffuse into the fluid, and then they are discarded. And so is excess of water, which often accumulates in the body between filtrations because our kidney function is disabled and can't filter blood properly, not even from water. The fluid can be enriched also by glucose, electrolytes, or drugs, so these can diffuse into the blood through membrane. Patients are also given anticoagulant, which is heparin most often, which helps to prevent blood clotting, as blood tend to clot quickly when it flows through different surface than our veins or capillaries. But heparin can remains in our body and often cause inner bleeding, which is very unpleasant for patients. And patients usually undergo treatment 3 times a week, and it usually lasts for 4 to 8 hours for every session. And every session is done in a clinical setting, which is very inconvenient for commuting. And also, hemodialysis can be associated with the high risk of infection and thrombosis. So patients with the hemodialysis are very unfortunate and their life is very impaired. Another solution, which can be seen as more convenient, is the continuous ambulatory peritoneal dialysis, also called home dialysis, which can be done at home setting. This is less expensive and can be performed, and patients can perform most of everyday activities, but it is also less efficient and can cause high infections. Patients have dialysis fluid from plastic bags, and they have indwelling catheter. And the fluid circulates in body for 15 to 60 minutes. And here are some data. So according to research, men are 1.6 times more likely to develop end stage renal disease. And in the world, there is about 4 million people who live with kidney replacement therapy, where the most common form of the treatment is the hemodialysis, which is about 69% of all patients, and 89% of all 4 million use some kind of dialysis. And in US, there is about 8 808,000 people in the United States that live with end-stage renal disease, and 69% of them use dialysis, and 31 of them live with kidney transplantation. And from 2010 to 2020, there was a high increase in percentage of patients using the home dialysis from 6.8 to 13.3%. Thank you so much for watching, and here are my data.